Thank you. Our project, as you can see, is the 2019 Smart Community Challenge. And if you can go to the next slide. Okay. Okay, there it is. So I just wanted to start off with a little bit of the highlights for context, the city of Milton and where our project and our project area is. So Milton is located north of city of Atlanta, about 29 miles, and we have about 39,000 residents, and we're thinking our estimate should be good for the 2020 census, we'll see. And we have about 39 square miles. Highly family-oriented community, highly educated, also a lot of young people because we have a lot of families. The last census and the estimates for this time measures at 20% or so of folks under 14. And so that's one of the statistics that we're looking at as far as our project because we're dealing with schools and school-age kids. We have a significant equestrian community and some larger lots. We have a small downtown, which is our study area. We have some few commercial areas as well as 3 schools, the elementary school, middle, and high school, all next to each other, adjacent to each other, and across the street from our Milton downtown. And in our downtown, we do have additional higher density, so it's not the equestrian and the larger lots in our downtown, so we do have some more people concentrated there. And so we do have some folks walking in the downtown, and so we chose that for our study area. Next, a little bit about our project some more. Yeah, we had the right slide. I'll just wait for it to come back. It's walking to school. It's we want to use technology to assist groups of kids led by parents, so parent volunteers, to walk to school. We're calling it a walking school bus, where groups of 4 to 6 kids can walk, led by adults or as a chaperone or / driver of this walking school bus. As you can see in our graphic, it shows the app, phone sort of a thing, and then you have trusted community members walking with the kids, which helps with the perception of safety, additional safety to walk to school. So our project is to study and develop an interactive app for smartphones that will provide real-time group communication for parents of kids who want to walk to school in that group, and it's a technology-assisted walking school bus that will encourage more kids to walk to school. Again, we're building on the 2008, the 2009 Georgia Department of Transportation Safe Routes to School program, which Milton was a part of, and it did help us with funding for sidewalks, crosswalks, and other types of assisted walking aids to school. So we're building on that to help encourage more kids to walk to school. And of course, we're using the technology component with that. The next slide talks about our goals. To encourage more kids to walk to school. That's for several reasons. We want to alleviate the traffic congestion due to the queuing of the carpool during the morning and morning drop-offs and afternoon pickups. And we're just trying to get a more, to activate a smarter commute to schools to promote health and wellness of the community. Some of the research that we've been doing in the objectives, we're going to access the current path conditions of how folks walk to school. We want to study new favorable conditions. We have on our slide a map of our ongoing trail enhancement plan. Is in progress. We have that. And one of the components of that, which sort of was this project, our SMART project, helped inform our trails project, because we had a component in there that talked about homes to school trails. So we sort of zeroed in how do we implement and enhance the homes or the neighborhoods to schools trails, which would again help this project. So we're developing a smartphone application to help kids walk to school, to help the scheduling and the mapping of the walking to school. And when we deploy this app, we'll see the impact, and hopefully it'll show that we encourage more kids to walk to school, yet to be seen. Next, we talk about our teams. So we have a City of Milton team. We have our director, Parag Agarwal, myself, Michelle McIntosh Ross, and Shubhangi Jannam. And then our Georgia Tech professors, Dr. Kerry Watkins, Dr. Ashuman Gwen, and our intern at Georgia Tech, Reed Passmore. And then we also engaged members of the Fulton County School, as you can imagine, is critical. The superintendent, Kibby Crumley, and our professors from the elementary, middle, and high school, Tressa Cheatham, Mr. Peterson, and Mr. Jones. So also in our project, the Atlanta Regional Commission, along with Georgia Tech, Fulton County Schools, principals, etc., we have a excited and passionate PTO members on board, as well as community members and Crabapple residents, which is the area, our study area. This project, we hope, would benefit all of the residents in Milton within the area with helping them to walk around. Also, we just got on board our app developer, App Zoro, and we've been working with Traffic Data Services for our video collection. Next, this just charts out our project progress so far. Throughout, we started off with site visits early on so that our professors can see what we're working with. We met with school leadership to tell them about our project. Then we went into contracting and getting those situated. We had a great parent meeting on December 5th. At City Hall, we had parents and kids come out. That was very informative, and it really gave us a lot of insight on how these kids walk to school and what they like about walking to school and what the parents thought about the prospect of having an app that would assist with this. So that was a really good meeting. Then on January 17th, we joined the elementary school. They have monthly walk to school days. As you can imagine, January 17th was a cold day at 7 a.m. in the morning, and we were out there. There were hundreds of kids, to our surprise. I mean, they did tell us, but we didn't believe it, but there were hundreds of kids walking to school, very excited. So we feel like, this community is a really good community for our project to create, work with them to create this app to walk to school. Also, we deployed a survey for the parents, and we'll talk some more about that when we get into research. And also, we got our app developer on board, so we should be working with that. This next slide just shows how many kids were out there for this walk to school day. This is just, of course, it's a snapshot. This was just one of the crossings. They had to wait for the cars to move, and then another set of crossings. So it was really good. So that helped. For our challenges, we had a little bit of a time lag with the contracting and whatnot, but we're over that now. So we're good. Let's see. Our team also had dependency on the weather. As far as working towards dates for data collection, but we were able to get a few done with some of the good days that we had. We worked on our RFP. Actually, we had to, because of our delays, we had to go towards a bidding process as opposed to RFP. But it's all working out. We had, 4 respondents, and we chose our app developer. So we should be moving on from there. let's see, we had to prioritize some of the features for the app. We had in our application and all when we discussed earlier that we would, have all these great things in there, but a lot of those things cost a lot of money. So we had to prioritize, which we did. And our next phase would be moving into the building of the app. So we're confident that it should be fine. And so this will go into the research progress with Dr. Carey.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. So we have four main, I see a little bit of echo, maybe somebody's microphone. So we have four main areas that the research part of the team has been working on. We're actually doing a lot of support of the Milton folks, like you saw on the calendar. We do weekly team meetings, which I think has been good for keeping all of us on the same page throughout the project. But then in addition to that, the research team has been working on these four tasks to support Milton. We've done a literature review to basically understand better the benefits of walking so that we can use that to sell it to the parents to talk about. Here's the things that we know are actually going to benefit you if you do participate in the program, and that's something that we were doing a little bit earlier in the fall. We've also done some mapping that you'll see some results of in a minute to look at the walk to school routes and such. We deployed a survey in conjunction with the Milton folks. So we prepared that survey early this year, and then they got the word out so that we could have parents take it. And then we've been doing some video data analysis, trying to take video of the students when they're walking to school so that we had the ability to look at before and after to be able to get counts off of that video and some other things. So our numbers associated with this, we actually ended up getting 178 responses to our survey, which is fantastic. But we've only been able to do 3 days worth of video. So I'll talk more about that in a second if you want to switch. Thanks, Shiva. So the first piece of this is our literature. Some of the things that many on the call might be aware of, but we're trying to bring out to the folks in Milton is that less than 10% nationwide of students aged 5 through 18 walk to school. And this is in contrast to how it was decades ago when those numbers were much, much higher. And at the same time, childhood obesity is at these very high rates. And transportation is what's making up a large part of our CO2 emissions. So the whole goal of this is to increase physical activity, to address some of those issues through a walking school bus. We've seen a lot of results of what walking to school can do in terms of bolstering communities, social interactions, but also that physical activity is associated with better cognitive performance. So our kids can do better in school when they have that morning walk to school trip. So this is just a sample of some of the literature that we found, but we're going to put more of this into some presentations to kind of sell the app to the parents as we get it deployed. So the next slide that just came up is some map of the mapping that we've done. Initially, when Milton looked at this, they showed sort of a half-mile, mile and a half radius from the school. But when we actually looked at the network, it was a much smaller area that we anticipated that we could draw from, even if students were willing to walk a mile and a half to get to school. So it's one way to kind of look at some of the barriers that have to be overcome. And then in the second map on the right, it's actually accounting not only for the network distance, but actually looking at the presence of sidewalks, crosswalks, and the speed of vehicles along roadways to get a kind of accurate assessment of which places within Milton would people likely even be willing to walk from. And this helps the city so they can gauge, okay, if we can put some certain projects in place to make the community strategically more walkable, that can pair with what we're doing with technology so that you have both the infrastructure and the technology making this work better. So go ahead to the next one. So this is about the survey that we did that I mentioned. Like I said, we've gotten quite a good response from the parents, and we were asking them questions like, how do they normally get to school? Of course, most use the car, some use the bus. There are a few dedicated walkers and even a cyclist among the group. But for the most part, it's car usage currently. We also asked them how far away they perceive that they live from the school, and then what kinds of barriers and benefits they see. So in terms of how far they live, actually, it's okay. I was going to talk to the graphic on the bottom, but that's okay. Um, so some of the things that they perceive as the benefits of walking are physical activity, that it's fun and different, that they can meet new people, those types of things. The environmental sustainability about it, and even the confidence of their kids to be able to
Mhm.
walk to school sort of empowers them a little bit. But some of the barriers that they're seeing is that there are no sidewalks or crosswalks. There might be aggressive drivers. The distance is too far. It can be rainy. But some of these things are things that we might be able to overcome. Like the blue section is that they're worried about strangers or having no adult supervision. So some of these are things that the app might actually be able to help overcome to get more people to be walking to school. Go ahead and go to the next one, Sheila. The other aspect of what the team has been doing is our video data collection. Unfortunately, with coronavirus, we no longer have a school in session, so that definitely makes this a little more complicated than would have been. Luckily, we were able to get out there and do 3 days worth of video data collection in our first round, but we had planned to do additional data collection similar to this time frame right now, and we obviously can't do that because there's no kids walking to school. But we do have a couple of days that we've gotten to take our counts and other elements from for us to be able to do a before and after analysis once the app is deployed in the fall. And then I think at this point, I'm passing it back to Michelle. Let me just say that the other part that the research team has been very engaged in is helping the folks in Milton envision the app and how that app would work and to work with the developer. So with that, Michelle, are you taking back over?
Yeah, so right here, this is just our future plans it's just a schedule to build our smartphone application March through August. Then we'll see about our on-site event. We'll wait for word on that. We're going to be mapping all of our routes and bus stops throughout the summer, and should be able to release some sort of a demo during that summer, late summer. And also we'll be building our website when we get our community core intern in-house. We'll work with that person to build our website. And then when school gets back in session, I say when, I'm optimistic, we will go live with our app, and we'll be able to have folks use. We'll get more data collection, and we'll do some more promotion and whatnot. We'll definitely have some more community engagement opportunities when kids are back, and just to get feedback on, walking path improvements, should we have signs, where to place the signs to encourage and to warn traffic, let them know that kids are walking to school. And then also, we have also decided that we will host this app for a minimum of 3 years beyond this, so that as we get some more usage and so on, that we can build it up enough so that other schools or school systems will be interested and may be able to take this on within their school system. So that's our hope for our future plans. So the next slide, I believe, jumps back to talking about our app development. Like I said, we just got our app developer on board, and these are some of the things that we're hoping to start putting in there. And this also shows our preliminary mainframe that we have so far. On this slide, talks about funding opportunities and other future smart city projects. With this in mind, and with our comprehensive plan effort coming up, earlier or late last year, we included in our scope of work for the comprehensive plan to include a section or a component that will engage the community to explore ideas for other smart community projects. So we're hoping that through this process, we'll have an 18-month comprehensive planning process with lots of community meetings. We hope everything will get back to normal, or we'll just do it online, it's fine. But we will get input from the community about future smart projects. Some of the smart projects that we initially had in mind dealt with trails and having folks walk not just to school, but throughout the downtown and throughout Milton, and having some smart trails with lighting and some other things like that. So those are some of our future ideas that we have so far.